Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today we have a special treat for you. We are doing an interview with Rachel Fiori. Rachel's from here in California. She wants to run to be governor of California. Now, real quick before we go any further, you can find out more at rachelfiori.com. After this episode airs, check us out at rachelfiori.com. We'll also have more information on where you can find her. She is found typically here at the Masters of Self University podcast. She also has another website where you can find her, and we'll cover a little bit about that. But for now, we want to cover this. Why are you? Who are you? How long have you been in California? Why do you care? Let's start with this. Why are you running for governor, and why do you give a damn? And then we'll break down. I have like 20 questions I want to go, and I'm trying to organize them. I've been preparing for this for a while. Very excited. And, I'm in the moment with you. I'm sure you're watching every day things happening in the news. I'm pretty
Yes.
sure I know what your answers are going to be roughly, but let's go ahead and get to the juice for the audience. What's going on in America right now? What do you see? And why does that make you interested in running for governor of California? Capture the moment for us and explain to us why you've been, because I've known you for a little while. This was not something that you initially wanted to do. It seems like something you've been somewhat compelled to do because of exigent circumstances, I think is the phrase, things tipping off. What's going on right now? What is the moment right now? And why were you recently compelled, or at least over the past couple months, moved in this direction here?
Yeah,
What's
thank
going on?
you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you. And I love the question to start us off with that. I think it's a powerful question. And I'm going to give you a no bullshit answer that the United States of America has turned into Nazi America. We have ICE terrorists brutalizing people in the streets. So, why me and why now is I've chosen to do this. Why now? Because of Alex Peretti. Why now? Because of Renee Good. Why now? Because of Jose Castro Rivera, Isaias Barboza, because of Jamie Alanis, because of Keith Porter, because of every victim that has been brutally murdered, assaulted in the street. Why now is because of a 17-year-old boy who's an American citizen at his job working at Target is removed brutally from his job, dragged into the street, taken away, beaten up, and then dropped off because he has brown skin. Why now are because the people in detention centers who are being hogtied, raped repeatedly by these ICE agents and these monsters who are the actual domestic terrorists in this country, by the way. Why now? Because those people need us to step up and rise up and take care of this and end this right now. They don't have days, weeks, months, or years for us to wait around and do nothing and hope things will get better as we literally watch it get worse and worse and worse. That's why now violence towards other people in this manner is unacceptable. And why now? We are the ones who have to change. Our government isn't going to change. They've made that very clear. They keep getting worse and worse and more horrific and more heinous. And we sit around and watch and say, well, let's change a couple policies and see what that does. That is a load of crap. It doesn't work. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome is the definition of insanity. Why now? Because this government, this administration, our so called leaders are insane. And it is time to bring sanity back to the people. It's time to forge a new way. And the Fiori way is to radically change the way that we treat each other as human beings. We need a new way, and I'm here to forge it.
All right, let's start off with the obvious questions. You're running for governor of California. ICE is federal. A lot of the issues that you stated happen in other states.
Yes.
What are you going to do as governor that's different that could actually solve this problem?
I think, first of all, that we need to understand how severe and outrageous the problem actually is that we are living in real time. We have to take a deep breath and actually face the ugly, horrifying truth. So, as governor, The day one as governor of California, when you all elect me as governor on my first day as the new governor of California, I am going to declare ICE terrorists exactly what they are. They are domestic terrorists. They will be treated as such. They will be arrested on site, and they will be charged as terrorists for the brutality and assault and all the things that they do, violating people's rights, which, by the way, don't exist anymore, because that's our government that is functioning, just literally setting fire to the Constitution, to the Bill of Rights, to all of the amendments. There is no Fourth Amendment anymore. They keep changing things because the rules and the law do not apply to them. Those are misleaders creating dictatorship and tyranny in this country. So, as governor of California, why this matters is because I'm willing to say we don't tolerate this anymore. It is unacceptable and inexcusable. So on day one, not only will I declare the real domestic terrorists that are brutally terrorizing the people of this country and the Californians in the state, but day one, I will call for an emergency blue ribbon panel so that we can investigate and separate from the United States, become our own sovereign country. Once we do that, I will have a task force, an advisory task force, so that we can peacefully, in the most efficient, effective way, separate from the United States, the Nazi America that has been created. And we can then take the next step to heal from the trauma, to create safety and stability in our new sovereign country. And when we do that, we can elevate human consciousness. We can do this together. We can change the corrupt system that keep people enslaved, keep people in fear, keep people in survival mode so that they can never thrive. So that if you're always in fear and always under stress, you're never going to thrive in your life. You're never going to experience the abundance that we can all experience if we heal together and elevate together. But I have to emphasize this. We have to be the ones to change. You don't ask your oppressors to stop oppressing you. That's ridiculous. They're not going to do that. If they have a level of consciousness and the mentality and the motivation to harm you, hurt you, financially rape you, keep you in struggle and survival, do you think they're simply going to, oh, can you please have a conversation with me? Can you stop abusing me? That's not how abusers work. So we have to develop a new way. And that means separating from the abusers. It's like going through a divorce with a narcissistic abuser. It's time to go through the divorce. So we're going to divorce and we're going to heal from that divorce together. And then we're going to be role models for other people to show them the power that they have, that they don't have to stand for any of this. We can actually be really good human beings to one another.
I am just blown away by the amount of support that you have. You have a huge amount of supporters. We're covering just some of the comments coming in, and I can tell why. You're passionate. I mean, I'm listening to the message. All I had to do was do a little bit of a wind up, and they're like, why now? What's the moment? You capture that perfectly, and then well, what are you gonna do? And you're like, I'm moving on it. We're done talking. We're done apologizing. I'm done having these conversations. I love the analogy of an abused person. About a fourth of the women in my family were, we won't go into the terms, but you know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very sensitive for me. And then my mom got out of an abusive relationship too when I was a young boy. I'm always struck by the image of my tío, my uncle. So my grandfather on my mom's side was really abusive. And all my aunts and my moms won't really call him. But my uncle, who he beat the most, calls him every day.
Oh.
So sometimes we can see these things where it's an abusive situation. It was horrible. And yet you are compelled to return to it, right? I mean, how many times have we seen this? I was horrified when I saw the saga of Chris Brown and Rihanna. She kept going back to him, and then she apologized, and she said he's a good guy. And I'm like, no, he's not.
No,
No, he's not.
no.
And so You have a background in understanding humans,
Mhm.
elevating people, getting to a higher vibration. We'll go into some more detail, but why aren't the other governor candidates talking like you? Why aren't they calling for sovereignty investigation? We did a little bit of research. I know you and I talked. It is a fact, everybody, that the governor of California can call for an emergency
Yes.
investigation. It's called a blue ribbon panel investigation. Now, typically, they take a few months to get through the system in Sacramento, but Schwarzenegger Davis famously, in response to California wildfires, created a blue ribbon panel investigation within 1 month.
Yep.
Newsom could do that now. And Fiori saying that she would do that on day one. It is a power available to governors. Why isn't Newsom doing this now? Why aren't other people talking about this? And, when I see Newsom in the news, he does seem upset.
Mhm.
He does seem concerned. I believe him on that. Why is he not at this level yet? I mean, why don't we have existing governors doing what you're saying? Why don't we have other governor candidates now doing what you're saying? And I'm not asking you to throw anybody under the bus. I don't
Yeah,
want
we're
to
not
get
here to.
awful. Yeah, but just in general, like, because you seem to have a Joan of Arc lightning strike vision about where you're going, what needs to happen, what's going down, what's the next step. And I saw the governor's debate a few days ago.
Mhm.
They weren't there. They were kind of Swalwell said a few things, but they were kind of all over the place. Do the other governor candidates realize how bad things are right now? Does Newsom? What is the reluctance to go even further, be even more vociferous, strongly worded like you are? Again, not throwing anybody under the bus, but in an election, it is important for voters to know why you are a different candidate than the
Yes.
others, why you are a better option than the others. What's going on with you where you're able to be here, see this, focus on this, and say this, and yet we don't see other people going on? I have other questions. I don't want to focus on that, but roughly that'll be a question people would ask.
Sure.
Why do you see this and others don't?
Yeah, I think that people are, and before I answer this, I just want to reiterate because I agree when you say this isn't about attacking anybody personally. This isn't about personal attack. It's not throwing anybody under the bus, but I'm here to say what people are too afraid to say. And here is the truth that when I watch the governor's debate, it's what are we doing? Just talking about change in policy. That is literally the change in policy that's happening in our government right now. The changes in policies are to continue to remove the rights of American citizens. That isn't some, oh, woo, you're making that up. Those are facts. We just had Veronica Escobar, a Texas representative, her amendment to the bill to fund Homeland Security, which funds ICE, her amendment was removed before voting on it. The amendment that she put in there was to make sure that actual American citizens cannot simply be torn out of their homes and literally deported from the country they live in. American citizens, they removed that from the bill to fund Homeland Security. We do not have rights as American citizens anymore. That's a fact. They're gone and they continue to be removed more and more and more. When I see the people running for governor right now, what are we doing that we just want to talk about, this bill and this money and that? We are in a crisis and we need to have the ability and the leaders who know how to deal with crisis and trauma to end it and to heal from it. I actually do that for a living. I've done this my entire adult life. And when other people are too afraid to say the things that, oh no, people won't like me, look, I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you what we need to do and what you need to hear in order for all of this to end. I'm here to give the truth, not a bunch of crap so I can gain followers and likes. I don't function and live my life that way. We have to stop living our lives in such an inauthentic, I'm afraid to be too radical. I might lose the votes. Well, I'm radical because that's what we need right now. This is
Right
what we
there.
need right now in this moment, not next year, not 10 years from now. right now, we need somebody who's willing to step up, take this on, and do what it takes to end the crisis that we are in. I am willing to do that, and I'm not going to sugarcoat anything that I say. That doesn't help anybody. That's treating everybody like you're emotionally fragile little babies who can't handle the truth. That's part of the brainwashing. They keep us dumbed down so that we're unwilling to face what's really happening because it's too hard to see it on the news. That needs to end. We need to elevate our consciousness and face the damn truth of what's happening. And it isn't facing it like, okay, so I see it. No, we then need to take action, unite together, get rid of the terrorists that are the actual terrorists, get rid of all the people committing the crimes, cold-blooded murder in the streets. Those are the people working for our government. That needs to end. So when I hear other people running, this is also why I've chosen to step into this race, because I don't see anybody out there that's willing to do enough. They're too concerned about getting the votes and getting elected and trying not to be too radical so that maybe I'll be president one day. Like, what are we doing? Like, that's our ego running everything. That is not me as a human being concerned for other humans.
I mean, you definitely answered the question, and you show the answer with your energy and the just your movement and posture and expressions, and then your fan club. Wow, I mean, you have got a solid base. You guys need to pay attention to this. When you're looking at Rachel, it's not just Rachel; it's Rachel and her furious force of people behind her. That's really good for running. I'm not bringing that up just to give accolades. That's great for running a campaign, right? You want to have people on the ground. You clearly have connections. I don't want to digress too much. How many people are influenced by you? We're seeing a ton of comments. She's changed my life. This is who she is. She doesn't tolerate guff. I'm paraphrasing the word here. We're going to keep it PG. And a lot of people saying you helped me raise my level, just be a better person. Masters of Self University, is that you're based out of San Diego, but people up and down California follow this? You have not been doing this for just a month. You've been at this for years, all over the world.
All over the world.
What is just a real quick, what is the expanse of your influence? How many people know you roughly? And you don't have to like super flex, like roughly how many people know you through what you're doing? Roughly what is it that you're doing? And roughly how many people in California and around the world have kind of heard of you? What is the network you're working with roughly?
I touch people's lives from all over the world. So there are people that follow me from all over the world. And the reason for that is what I do and what I've created. Masters of Self University is a metaphysical university. I literally left the sick care system. We call our health system here in the United States. It's a sick care system. And when I got my master's degree, being, ignorant and naive, well-intended, of wanting to go into the healthcare system to actually really help heal people and help people in the best way that I possibly could help them. So as a therapist, when I got licensed and I started to work in the sick care system, it was devastating to me to see what the sick care system really actually was. It was devastating to keep people sick, to treat symptoms, not root causes, so that people can heal. So when I saw this, I realized, oh no. I'm here to see the truth about what this system really is, and I'm here to create a new way, a different way. Okay. So I left that system over time. I was able to get out, and I created a place for people to really learn how to evolve, how to heal what's really going on with them spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, and to teach people that they have the power to elevate out of their current circumstances. Right. So it's important to know that over the years, over the last couple of decades that I've been doing that and creating this, and I created Masters of Self University because you're here to master yourself. This is why when we want our oppressors, our slave owners to change, that's insanity. They're not going to change. We have to face the truth as the way of truth. How do we get real change to happen? We change ourselves. We heal, we elevate, we come together because we are more powerful together. So, how many people are ready for that all over the world? I don't know. I can tell you that we have students from multiple countries at my metaphysical university. I can tell you that I've coached, I've helped people from all over the world over the last couple of decades, going on almost 30 years, roughly, that I've been doing this to some capacity. So as far as numbers go, I don't know. And the truth is, I don't care. I can tell you what's more important to me are the people that I help actually are helped, that they actually evolve, they heal, they change, they unite together powerfully, they are more compassionate, they support other people. We are here to care about the well-being of others and ourselves. That's oneness. That's what we're here to elevate into. So that's what I create on different levels already. And I've been doing that for, 25, 26 years.
Is your background helping people to, I guess, cut through old ideas, bad ideas, mental clutter, embrace a new reality? Probably, I bet there's a little bit of facing your fears or
Yes,
baggage or trauma counseling or something.
100%.
Um, and I've seen some of your shows and I've done interviews with you. You don't mince words.
No.
You're not. I mean, you're tactical with what you say, but you're not concerned about letting it rip to get the idea out there. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to make sure I phrase that correctly. You're very thoughtful with what you say, but you're also going, look, if these are the niceties and nail polish on this, I'm not too worried about that. Let's get it out there.
Yeah.
Um, like my mom used to say, just slide the cow right into the barbecue. Let's get going. I'm not trying to offend any vegans. She's from Texas. Is that I'm sensing that that might be part of what makes you different, and that when you're looking at the governor race and you're looking at traditional politics and what you had just said, a lot of people in politics follow the traditional mantra.
Yes.
When you were talking about nobody wants to say anything like this because they worried about the next election, Chuck Schumer was asked about undoing ICE. It's
Hmm.
on video, and he basically ignores them, and then they're literally right there, and he goes, "Okay, what's next on the bill?" Very polite, but totally ignores them. Like, I can clearly hear them, but I'm not having that conversation. And then we saw Cory Booker, an African American man, say, "Hey, don't be too tough on these ICE guys. Training will fix everything." Yes, you saw people executed intentionally. In my eye, I'm not a legal expert, but I can watch videos. I have two eyeballs. And then here's another sitting senator, one of the most famous ones, come on and say, just guys, they just need a couple extra days at school. This would all get wrapped up. And so we see some of the top two Democrats basically shying away from doing anything
Yep.
about ICE. I'm not hearing a tidal wave of Democrat senators or Democrat House members coming together to do this. I'm also recalling Antonio Villaraigosa, who I found inspiring years ago, but you were talking about people and they're not here for the moment. During the governor's debate, they asked him the ICE question, and he goes, "We need to have a movement. We need to get out there and protest, and it works, and people haven't seen what a movement
Mm.
can do." And I remember it. And then Stacey Abrams was on the Jimmy Kimmel show. I think Anthony Anderson, the comedian, was interviewing her. And she said all the same stuff you did. These horrible things are happening. This is happening. This horrible stuff happens. And they go, "And what should we do, Stacey?" And she goes, "Well, you need to be louder and get your voice out there."
I mean, it's the most ridiculous. It's just like, with all due respect, that's just ridiculous.
Why? Why is that ridiculous? We have political leaders, vested political leaders.
Yeah.
Allow me to play. I'm with you, but allow me to play devil's
Of
advocate. So
course,
I got the
please.
question. You're not a senior seasoned political person. I got a
Nope.
seasoned political person in California, a seasoned political person on the East Coast, and they say, yes, we're facing all this horrible dictatorship and things you say, but we just need to get louder and speak louder and protest harder. Shouldn't I listen to them? These are seasoned political operatives. Won't that save us at the moment? You don't seem sold. Why not?
Well, first of all, let's look at history and see where it's gotten us thus far. That alone should end the conversation with anybody who's thinking along those lines. It's ridiculous. That right there. I shouldn't have to say anymore. I will say more because some people need some more. So I'm going to give you some more. So I wouldn't insult myself to call myself a politician. I wouldn't reduce myself to that title at this stage of the game and what politicians have shown up and shown what they are. They are not humanitarians that have compassion and actually are concerned for the well-being of all. You know, these people are, the whole system is completely corrupt. It doesn't mean there aren't a few good people in there that are well intended,
Of course, of
because of
course.
course, you know, and I think they're drowning in what they've signed up for. But when you ask a question of, you know, some seasoned politician, that to me says, well, what's the likelihood then that you are corrupt and evil and have your own agenda and you're part of the Epstein files and you're part of covering up everything that's going on, what we call our government. I mean, that isn't a reason. Look at the history of how well this has worked so far. It hasn't. It hasn't worked. We need a new way. We need to forge a new way with people who actually have empathy versus narcissistic greed, who actually care about the well-being of the people that are in their communities and all over the world, not just your state, your country, everywhere. We should care about people and humans and this planet and animals. Like, that's what loving divine people do. I'm not a politician. I am a leader who is here for the revolution that we need to have. And that revolution is literally evolution of our human consciousness so that we can evolve to be better human beings. I am not here to play, to have a pissing contest with other politicians. That is a waste of time. It hasn't worked. Get out of your egos. The narcissistic rule of misleaders needs to go. And the only way for that to happen is for us to stand up in the state of California and become the role models of a new way. And that means separate from the people who rule in that way, become our own country, and focus on healing and changing the systems, because the systems themselves are corrupt, which is why you might have a few people in that system who are very well-intended people. They want to do the right thing. They want to make change. They want to make things better. But when the entire system is set up with corruption and inequality built in the system, you're not going to make any headway. How do you know? Look at the year after year after year. Same shit, different day. So it's time to stand on business, take action, and do something completely different. And the people who are too afraid to do that, I'm not judging them. It isn't a personal attack, but I'm not going to sugarcoat. That dismissiveness, that ignore, that gaslighting, that, you know, avoiding, and like, oh, let's just pretend like this isn't as serious as it really is. Those are all the behavioral patterns of people who have powerlessness, who are manipulators, who are possibly narcissists themselves. That's what needs to go. That's where we need to evolve as humans. So a true leader isn't a leader because they say they are. Right? Like, that's ridiculous. A lot of people like to say they're just because you have a leadership position does not mean you're an actual leader. We need real leaders who are here ready to evolutionize humans into being better people for one another, to one another, on behalf of one another. And when we start to live like that, we can role model for everyone else what this actually creates: abundance for all, thriving for all, not just billionaires getting what the slaves down here give to them with our sacrifices and our suffering. I mean, it's insanity. It is
I
insanity
love
that
the
we
way
live
you
this
painted.
way.
I love the way you painted. It seems like we really haven't. I mean, we really haven't progressed past the caveman stage. We're still
We have
worshiping
not.
gods and going, "Oh, you sovereign king, must here
Yes.
have my food, and I can't question you." And
Yes.
I just, I had to ask again. I kind of know the answer, but on a personal level, I believed, and maybe I was being tricked, but I believed Antonio Villaraigosa and I believed Stacey Abrams. I mean, their description of the moment was spot on. And then they went right back to the same tired and true old thing. Like, so you clearly understand now, and then you drug it right back to protest movement, speak louder. I'm
Yeah.
seeing all these protests in LA, and I was thinking about going to them, but they're all like ice out of California. And so I asked someone, okay, great, ice out of California. I'm for it. How are you going to do it? Well, we need to let them know we want it.
That's what this is. What's conversation is absolutely ridiculous.
Really?
And to encourage people, not that you shouldn't protest. I am 100%
Yeah,
get up,
protest.
rise up, stand out. But
Yes. Yes.
we have no rights anymore. When you have a tyrannical, malignant, narcissistic, psychopathic government, current administration that sprays pepper spray, shoots you in the face in cold blood, murders a man after spraying him with pepper spray, holding your phone up with nothing else in your other hand, while he's protecting and putting himself in between a woman who's also been maced. That is to go out and hear and let your voices be heard. People are being murdered for doing that. They are being attacked. They are being beaten. And the reason why we know this is because we have phones now and social media. This is what's hilarious about it. We have 20 people will film the same thing, and then you have the government, the administration coming out saying this was self-defense. 19 videos show otherwise. You gaslighting fill in the blank that I won't say right now. It's insanity. So no, it's an avoidance and escapism tactic to deflect and minimize what is actually happening. Oh, you just all need to protest more. Well, what has that done? We have more rights taken away in the last couple of weeks than we have in the history of this country since people have actually been given some rights other
Sounds
than
like you're
white
saying
men.
that protests don't work, that the old things don't work like they used to, that we can't expect results from
They're
that.
not
Am I getting that
honored.
right?
They're not being honored.
They're not being
They're
honored.
not being honored. The way of honoring is to say that you have a voice and you're allowed to use it and speak it against something that you view as evil, violent, tyranny, whatever, a dictatorship. You're allowed to speak up against that. You should be speaking. We should be encouraging that we shouldn't tolerate this kind of behavior. And when people speak out and speak up to not tolerate this kind of behavior, they're being detained, they're being brutally beaten, they're being tortured, they're being raped, they're being murdered in the streets. So our peaceful protests, like, again, it's not a personal attack, but let's just get to the truth here. When people say protest more and speak out, well, people are, and then we have less rights, weeks later. Like, let's get real. It's ridiculous to say that that's the solution. That's not the solution. That is no solution.
Yeah, I just had to bring it up so that people understand we have establishment politicians. I named four of them. Two of them were in the Senate, and they were going to do nothing about ICE, even
Right.
after people are dead. And then another two are well-respected politicians, and it's the same old ideas from the 1960s.
Yep.
And it's like they're shooting protesters.
Yes.
Obviously there was Kent, the state, in the 1960s, but that was one incident where one person was shot, and then the entire country was in shock. We're up to three people capped, and there's a debate on if they had it coming or not. I mean, you've seen the way they've spun this. The Freddie's a domestic terrorist.
Yeah.
The other woman, Good, was a terrorist, murderous rampage. He came there with the intent to kill and maim law enforcement officers because he's an evil man. I'm just picturing this
It's
guy's family.
psychotic. It's psychotic what is happening. And that right there is, people have been so brainwashed and been slaves for so long that they don't even know they're slaves. They don't know how mind controlled they are to just accept what the powers that be say because they say it. This is where we have to evolve as humans, that this level of treatment and then just lying about it, shooting people in the face and just lying about it, just saying, didn't happen. I was scared for my life. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
What terrifies me is it's January 6th over again. The January 6th was scary. I remember being shocked When I saw it on TV, I literally froze for 5 minutes. I had a trash can. I was doing some mild chore and I just stared at the TV for 5 minutes. I couldn't believe my eyes. What I found more terrifying, though, was that after all the video and after all the acknowledgement, the Republican Party, fully informed of the event, condemned it, and then changed their mind on condemned it, and then took back their condemnation. And now it's like, you need to relax on what was going on there. And I'm like, if you can watch a murder,
Yeah.
see it on video, say, yeah, that's horrible, somebody's murdered, and then 6 months later go, looking at it again, I don't think it was murder. And it's you agreed to that and saw it, and now here we are. Um, don't use your vehicle to ram over ICE officers. Don't come with a gun and extra clips intending to murder all the ICE officers. And half the country believes it. I've seen a little bit of pushback on since Preddy was killed, but my question for that was, okay, Preddy got killed, and now there's a lot of veterans who are upset, and that's great. I'm glad they see it. Renee Good was driving away from a man, and he emptied 3 rounds into the back of her head,
Yeah.
not under a threat. Walked away without a limp and said, "You blank blank."
Yes.
Where were all the veterans then? That
Well,
video
yeah.
wasn't good enough to get the veterans. And I have a lot of veterans in my family, and hey, I'm glad that when Alex Preddy got killed, people were paying attention. But my question was, the video shows Good driving away.
Yes.
Tires not towards him. He's on the side, not under threat. He does not limp away. He does not appear to be impacted. He dumps half his clip and then he says something on top of it to
Uh-huh.
show animus of the way he was thinking at that time.
Yep.
Not good enough to get half the country involved and get the veterans involved. And then even with Preddy, you still have roughly half the country, even with some veterans who, this guy was a maniac. He's a killer. He's trying to get out there. And I would be shocked if I hadn't seen it on January 6th, where you can have half the country look at something and then go, no, that's not what it is. I mean, that's a picture of an orange when it's a tomato. No, it's not. That's an orange, bro. I don't know what you're talking about. And then in that insanity, to see senators not want to discuss it at all, like Schumer, like Booker.
Yep.
And then to see other people say, well, the solution to this time is to talk more. They'll shoot you in the face. They'll shoot you dead. You'll have high-ranking officials lie about these people publicly. And my favorite part, to back up what you're saying about California needs to have a serious investigation into sovereignty given this.
Yes.
That's why I asked you to claim the moment. The federal courts yesterday backed up the Trump administration and said there will be absolutely nothing done against ICE agents, and we don't need to curtail their exigencies or actions at all. The federal court system backed Trump up after 2 people were murdered and said, nothing's going to change here. And we backed Trump on this.
That right there tells you everything that you need to know. That tells everybody everything that you need to know about what is going to change in the United States of America, other than it become more horrifying than it already is becoming, and we are living it in real time. This is cult behavior. This is behavior of sadistic, narcissistic psychopaths, and that isn't over exaggerating terms. That is literally what it is. And we're so dumbed down and brainwashed to just falsely blind faith follow whoever, is standing behind the podium. It's psychotic, and we need to evolve. We are the ones who need to change. It is very clear they are not going to change. So we investigate. We call a blue ribbon panel. Day one of me being elected as California governor, I will call that. We have the ability to call it now. Current governor's not doing that. So I'm going to do it as the governor of California on day one. We will call for an emergency blue ribbon panel. We will investigate our sovereignty, the fastest, most efficient, safest, most abundant way that we can just separate from the unacceptable, what should be zero tolerance for this kind of abhorrent behavior that we see coming from these people. And we need to do what it takes to heal and not lower ourselves to accepting what is happening. If you accept it and you do nothing and you bury your head in the sand and you look away, oh, I don't want to watch the news because that's so upsetting, then you deserve to be in that country who's going to continue to treat you as a slave. And that's not a judgment. It isn't. It's not an actual judgment of somebody. But we who want better and who are willing to do what it takes to be better, create better for ourselves, we're going to go over here and we're going to work on healing one another and healing the trauma of this and creating safety and stability in our new sovereign country, a republic of oneness. That's what we need to focus our energy on. All of us together need to focus our energy on that so that we can start to heal and live in a place where your nervous system isn't hardwired to stress, to fight, flight, or freeze, that you can't leave your house. You don't know if you're going to get snatched up. You don't know who's going to beat you, rape you, murder you in cold blood. This is insanity. So that's what needs to happen. And we need enough people to stand by here, back everyone up and say, we choose to do this together. We are going to unite together in oneness and move forward with this kind of country and role model, what this actually looks like, feels like, the level of compassion and support, the willingness to help other people heal and elevate. That's what we all need to do together. Anything less than that, quite frankly, is despicable, and it is unacceptable to continue to settle and have the bar so goddamn low and call ourselves humans. It's disgraceful. We need to elevate higher and be better.
When I do an interview, I have to be impartial, but you're making it tough. I'm just the way you speak. I'm like, yeah, let's get it. I mean, and you have people are backing this. Okay, we're winding down. I want to keep it succinct, less than an hour, so it's a nice truncated piece. I'm going to ask you some more devil's advocate questions. Tough questions coming to you. Okay, no games here. Let me go over some of the ones that you'll hear. Rachel, you're talking about you could have an investigation into sovereignty. Just for everybody to know, the California government does blue ribbon panels every year. They do them all the time on every single issue. Autism education standards, redoing the California bar exam, nail salon health things, childcare, whatever. And so it can go from like redesigning the California bar, super academic, to safety standards for children's daycare. The kids need to wash their hands more. Like it does whatever they want. All that Rachel's talking about is the governor can call for an emergency blue ribbon panel investigation to anything. Schwarzenegger and Davis famously did one on how to prevent more forest fires after a bunch of people were killed and buildings were burned up. So did they get together and do this? No. They go, as governor, I'm ordering a panel of experts to come together. A group of maybe 25, 30 experts at that time in fire, in health management would come together, and they came together with a report going, Governors Davis and Schwarzenegger, yep, forest fires happened. It was really bad. By the way, if you want to stop it, here's these 15 things that we could do. Now, I can't make them happen, this panel, but you as governor could. That's why you ordered us. We're a collection of experts, and all we're doing is telling you what the facts are and what options are for you going into the future. That's it.
That's it.
And yeah.
It's so simple, and it can happen like this.
And why is it wrong when people are scared feces-less, I'll say, keeping it PC? Why is it scared? You see what's going on TV for people to have a fact-finding mission full of experts who produce a book of findings and recommendations? It's a setup question. Yeah. Okay. Here's the tough one. You seem like a nice person. Convince me you're not heartless because you want to abandon all the liberals in Alabama and Mississippi, and you're going to turn your back on all the good-hearted liberals in these red states where, yeah, they're a minority, and yeah, it's been a red state for decades, and they could get out, but they don't feel like it, and you're leaving them all behind. What would you say to that?
Yeah. So, first of all, I'm not here to convince anybody of anything. That's the problem. That's a low level of consciousness. We have to evolve enough where you stop just believing people because they're good enough at convincing you to follow them. That right there is part of the problem with how we function as humans. Convince me, prove it. I want you to convince me to believe you. No, you ready? I won't curse, but I'm going to say, I'm going to allude to what that word is. I tell people to go F your beliefs. If that's all you rely on, you are brainwashable. You're easily brainwashed and controlled by people when all you do is need convincing. So I don't tell people what they want to hear for a reason. I say what needs to be said, and then now let's take action and bring experts and professionals together who are willing to carry this out and make this happen. That's how I function. So that's number one. And that's how I'm going to teach other people to evolve into and start to function as that way as well. Because that is part of the problem. Convince me, convince me. I'm not here to convince you. I'm here to tell you the truth. It's blatant, it's black and white, and then let's do something about it. And if you go to climb Mount Everest and you show up in flip-flops and a tank top with no gear and no equipment, how are you going to get to the top? You're not. You have to take step one. That's a blueprint of how I'm going to do this. You need the skills, the training, you need the gear, you need the equipment. You know what else you need? The professionals who are the experts who help support you every step of the way, as well as the emergency people who are trained. If you get hurt, harmed, have an accident while you're there, they know how to rescue you and get you off the mountain. So for other states in this country, we have to take step one. And step one is for California to show you what's possible by becoming its own sovereign nation. That is step one. It isn't as simple, and I want to challenge people to critically think and not allow yourselves to continually be dumbed down and brainwashed by our current system that's put in place that wants you to be dumbed down and brainwashed, that it's leaving people behind. No, it's leaving a fascist government behind. There's a difference. We are going to focus on step one, step two, step three, making this happen, actualizing it, healing so people can see what is possible for us to achieve. And from that point forward, when we show you what we, all of us together, what's possible to achieve and become, how healed and wonderful and harmonious we can actually function and live as, while everybody thrives and everybody can be abundant, healthy, whole. We'll show you how to do that step by step. By the way, educating you every step of the way, because that's another part of this. The education and teaching people how to do it every step of the way is absolutely critical. Everybody is involved. The entire new nation, a Republic of Oneness. At that point, when we make progress in certain areas, then I bet, I'm not a betting woman, but I would be willing to bet that there will be other states that want to join us because they see what it's like to live like this
right there
versus live like that. You will have a real life experience. You will experience it yourself. Now you get to have actual free will choice. Where do you want to live? What do you want to be a part of? What do you want to become? Maybe you want to be a part of this nation. Maybe you want to create your own because you're sick of experiencing what suffering is and brutality is. We will show you the way. This is the Fiori way, to forge a new way. You get to experience it firsthand. I'm not here to convince you of anything. I'm here to show you how to live in a different way and to support you in becoming that new way. Then you get to choose for yourself. What do you choose for you? As an independent, sovereign, free person, you should be able to choose for yourself. I honor that choice. Let me show you how to get the other way done first. Now you have an actual choice between the two.
For the record, and for everybody out there, I think Rachel has a big heart too. I have to play devil's advocate so that when people watch this interview, they'll take it seriously. If I throw too softball of questions, people are like, oh, you got your friend. So I threw you some tough questions, and I did not tell you the answers ahead of time. I told you I'm going to throw a tough question. We did not prep the answer.
Nope.
You knocked it. Wow, that was a great answer. And so when people watch this interview, what they're going to see is, there were some real questions. There was not an agreement. She had to stand there on her own 2 feet, and you did. So fantastic work. All right, as we're well, let me ask you, as we're winding down, is there something that you wanted to talk about, or you wanted to discuss, or you felt you wanted to make sure to say?
Thank you for asking that. I really appreciate that. I just want people to hear me when I say to you, we have the power to do this. And we should care enough about, first of all, you should care enough about yourself. You should care enough about your own well being to want better for yourself. When we can care enough about what's happening in me, I'm not talking about in a selfish way. We should want better for ourselves and for everybody else. We are more powerful than you were ever led to believe, which is why they want us separated and fighting and pitted against each other. It's done by design. And you need to wake up from the brainwashing and the enslavement. Wake up for real and say enough is enough. It's time to forge a new way. And I want to be a part of making history in actually a beautiful, wonderful history. Not another war to add to the list, not more violence. We've had enough of that. It is time for something new. You listening to this can be a part of that new way of existence, and we'll do it together. We'll do it together. You have that power, but we have to come together and learn how to do it in unity with one another. I can show you the blueprint. I will show you the way. You just have to be willing and devoted to the new pathway. It's time for change. That's the Fiori way. It's time for something new.
Wow, that's really good. Okay, last two questions. Uh, okay, devil's advocate question, and then one on your bio. Rachel, aren't you overreacting? Didn't we go through the 1960s? Wasn't that a tough time? Can't this just be another tough time and we'll just get through it? Why are you overly pessimistic? I mean, this is something I always hear. It's like the shooting. Yeah, the 60s was bad, it was tough, and then we got through it. What do you say to people who say, chill out, relax? We got through the 60s. This will be just like that. We'll get through on the other side.
That there is a difference between normal life challenges that everyone that's alive experiences throughout a lifetime. There are life challenges that we have to learn how to move through in a healthy, evolved way. There's challenges along the way in our human experiences. We're going to experience some traumas. We're going to experience some tragedy. We're going to experience loss. That's normal and that's okay. That is not the same thing as being brutally murdered in cold blood on the street. That is not the same thing. That this is just a tough time. If that's your definition of a tough time, like how low do we put the bar? It's buried miles beneath the earth at this point. Can't even see the bar. It doesn't even exist. We don't even have a bar. If that's what we're going to ask, that it's just a tough time. That right there is the narcissistic trait of dismissiveness. That's dismissing. That's avoidance. That's escapism. That's minimizing the actual problem, which means you don't live as the way of truth. The truth about what's happening should affect people. Now, I'm not talking about affect people in the sense where we drown in anger and rage. I don't teach that. I actually teach people literally how to get out of that and not exist as that. I don't live as that. Passion and power is not the same as being out of control and not even being able to handle emotions. It's just tough times. Let me dismiss it and minimize it and see what happens next. That's cowardice. That's not, shouldn't we get, what does it even mean? Tough times. People are being murdered and brutally beaten and hogtied for no reason other than monsters are allowed to do it. That's not a tough time, right? So if we're going to minimize this level of extremism in our government, you're part of the problem. You are part of the problem. You're allowing this to happen. So it's not about getting through a tough time. It's about having zero tolerance for treating one another in this way. None of us should have any tolerance for this level of abuse and behavior and violence from other humans. It shouldn't exist. And so we need to do what it takes to heal and evolve and end it and not tolerate it any longer. That's passion. That's somebody who's going to handle business and stand on business. That isn't an overreaction. That's what narcissists say.
That was really good. You're hot. You're really knocking them out the park. Gave you some tough questions. You did really good on all those. I had a few more, but let's end it here because it's been really strong. You've batted them out. We're at 55 minutes. Last minute. This is something I usually do. So I'll give you the last minute.
Mhm.
You look at the camera and you tell them, I want you to give the people a message that they're going to watch this video and a couple days pass. And while they struggle to remember everything that was covered in the video, a lot of good material, a lot of great answers, a lot of memorable quotes, there was this one thing that you said, and they can't get that idea out of their head. What is that one thought you want to leave people with that they'll have to keep thinking about after they watch this?
We have to rise up and unite together and forge a new way. And I'm here to help you make that happen. I can't do that if you don't stand up, take action, vote Rachel Fiori for California governor. Remember, I said we take one step at a time to make all this happen? That is the first step. I have to be in that position to help you so that we can all learn how to help each other and end everything that you see here that you want to see ended. We have to do it together. Let's forge a new way. Rachel Fiori, vote Rachel Fiori, California governor, and let's do this together.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. Hopefully, you'll come back. I'll talk to you soon. Stay with me for a second. I'm going to end the stream. Thank you all for watching.